What is going on, everybody? My name is Caden Moran from Heel Heat Studios, and this is our first very official video for the Heel Heat Studios YouTube channel, and I couldn't be any more excited. I'm stoked to finally get this going. I know Bill Shannon, my partner and co-owner of Heel Heat Studios, is very stoked, and like I said in our previous video, you will get to know him very, very shortly. But here I am, and I am excited to bring you our very first official video discussing arguably one of the best professional wrestlers in the world, if not the best in the world, in New Japan's IWGP United States Champion, Kenny Omega. Now, I decided to talk about Kenny Omega in our first video because Omega's gonna have a very intriguing 2018. We just know he came off a huge win against Chris Jericho at Wrestle Kingdom 12, and he has now re-signed with New Japan Pro Wrestling on a one-year deal. He is signed with the company through January of 2019. Now, with that being said, we know Omega is going to be in Japan for the next year. That is guaranteed. The biggest question for Kenny Omega and the biggest career decision in Omega's career is going to come this year. In 2018 will be the most critical year of Kenny Omega, because the biggest question surrounding Kenny Omega right now is when and if he will come to the WWE. Many people believe that Kenny Omega will eventually come to WWE. Omega even went on record saying that is the end game, and I think that is the end game for really every professional wrestler in the world, is to reach the WWE. And if Omega were to decide to go to the largest wrestling company in the entire world, then he would have massive success, judging from just how Vince McMahon and Triple H have really seen Kenny Omega perform. And I know you're kind of questioning the Vince McMahon part, but if it weren't for Chris Jericho going to Japan, then this question may be more difficult to answer. Personally, I do believe Kenny Omega is going to the WWE in 2019. I think by next year, by the end of January of next year, everything that's happened in 2018 and even going back to 2017 is really going to come into the spotlight, and it's really going to be the main focus in the wrestling world. So the biggest decision and the biggest question for Kenny Omega for 2018 is this: is Kenny Omega coming to the WWE in 2019? If it isn't 2019, I just can't see it happening later on in 2020 or 2021. I don't see it. Kenny Omega is in his 30s. He does wrestle a very strong style. He is in Japan. They work a very stiff and more hard style than what the American wrestlers are used to. So if the time is right for Kenny Omega, it's going to be in 2019 once his contract is expired. However, there are a few holes in this question that could really influence Kenny's decision. So first things first, I think the biggest goal for Kenny Omega is to finally claim the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. That has been the goal for Omega since winning the G1 Climax tournament in 2016. He failed to defeat current IWGP Heavyweight Champion Kazuchika Okada at Wrestle Kingdom 11 and later in Dominion, but he was victorious against Okada in the G1 semifinal for his block. So the score right now is an even 1-1-1. One win for Omega, one win for Okada, and one draw. Sooner or later, we're going to have to get this fourth match between Okada and Omega. And if that is to happen, and if it is for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship, I think that could very well be what seals Omega's fate in terms of staying in Japan, because I think the only real scenario in where Kenny Omega would stay in New Japan Pro Wrestling is if he is to become the IWGP Heavyweight Champion, is if he is the one to defeat Okada eventually, whether it be later this year or Wrestle Kingdom 13 next year. I think the biggest influence for Omega right now is if he is to become the heavyweight champion, the top guy in Japan. A lot of people want Omega to be the top guy. I want him to be the top guy. But this is going to be the biggest factor in Omega's decision. I personally think if Kenny Omega is to never win the championship, if the New Japan executives told Kenny Omega, you are not going to be the IWGP Heavyweight Champion within the next 2-3 years, I think Omega needs to look at that, see what he's doing, and make a decision based off of that. I think if Kenny Omega is told that he is not going to be the top guy in Japan, then the time will be right for Omega to go to the WWE. But now the biggest question with that is when, where, and how. Obviously it wouldn't be the Royal Rumble considering he is signed by the end of January of next year, so we could potentially see Kenny Omega in the WWE in 2019 at WrestleMania, maybe post-Mania, maybe a surprise debut on Raw after WrestleMania. It's intriguing. This question really is intriguing. I'm very curious to know what's going to happen. And in my personal opinion, Kenny Omega is the biggest focal point in professional wrestling right now, especially for this year, because this year is going to be the most crucial, critical, and important for Kenny Omega, because everything he does this year will tell us exactly what is going to happen in 2019, whether he decides to stay or if he decides to leave. The Young Bucks have also gone on record saying they are going wherever Kenny Omega is going. So, with that being said, if Omega were to stay in New Japan, you're not getting the Young Bucks in WWE anytime soon. But if Kenny Omega were to go to the WWE, you could absolutely see Nick and Matt Jackson showing up in the WWE. Of course, many questions surround Kenny Omega going to the WWE, such as, will he be used properly? Will he be watered down? Will they change his name? Will they change his finisher? Will they change his character? These are all questions that Kenny Omega is going to have to ask himself this year. And he's going to have to really ask himself, is he going to be happy in WWE? Is he going to be happy staying in Japan? What's going to bring him happiness for his career? What does Kenny Omega want? And that's the question of the year in the world of professional wrestling. What does Kenny Omega want to do? Because Kenny Omega is arguably the greatest wrestler in the world today. He has put on amazing performances against Okada, against Naito, against Chris Jericho. We have seen amazing promos, amazing performances. He has all the talent and tools in the world. His look is incredible. Kenny Omega is one of the very best in the world today. And with that being said, this decision for Kenny Omega is going to be the most talked about. It's going to be the most looked at, and it's going to be the most predicted result of the year. All year, people are going to talk, is Kenny leaving? Everything that happens with Kenny Omega, whether he wins a match, loses a match, teases something, we're all going to look at that, and we're all going to ask ourselves the question I've been asking throughout this video. What the hell is going to happen with Kenny Omega? As of right now, there is some tension within Bullet Club between Kenny Omega and Cody Rhodes. We saw it at New Year's Dash, where Cody was about to attack Kenny Omega's former partner and rival Kota Ibushi, but Omega surprisingly made the save and showing some tension between Omega and Cody, which we saw earlier in 2017 at Dominion when Cody tried to throw in the towel. I think it's obvious Cody is going to be the next leader of Bullet Club. We don't know when, but if Omega were to leave New Japan for WWE, Cody is going to be the one to take his place. He's going to be that outsider who just runs this entire company, runs arguably the biggest professional wrestling stable in the world today in the Bullet Club. If New Japan does go through with this, if they do Cody versus Omega, and they have that leadership change, and they have that betrayal on Omega, I think that tells us exactly what is happening with Kenny. I think if he is pushed out of Bullet Club and Cody takes over, and we get that match, and if Cody were to beat Omega, I think that would seal Omega's fate. I think that would show that Omega is going to the WWE. This is his last, hoorah with New Japan. He is out of Bullet Club. He is passing the torch to Cody Rhodes. Personally, I think that is what is going to happen. I don't see it happening any other way. And personally, I don't see Omega wanting to stay in New Japan for a few more years if he is never going to be the heavyweight champion. Because let's face it, Kazuchika Okada is the man in New Japan right now. He has it all. The fans love him. Okada is going to be the champion for a very long time in New Japan. And there are many rumors going around about who will beat him, such as Tetsuya Naito or even Chris Jericho. Kenny Omega's name is not in that discussion. So, judging by that and judging how things are going to play out this year, it's going to be very intriguing to see exactly what happens with the cleaner. Well, that's going to leave me here, but before I go, I'm going to ask this question one last time. At the end of 2018, once it's all said and done, at the end of this year, what is going to happen with Kenny Omega in 2019? 2018 is going to be a very intriguing year for not just Kenny Omega, but professional wrestling around the world. But that is going to leave me here. Before I go, do not forget to check out all the links that will be in the description, such as our Twitter, our Facebook. You can follow me on Twitter, you can follow Crazy Bill on Twitter, and that is about it. Do not forget to like, subscribe, share, tell your friends about us. We are very excited. We're very excited to see what's going to happen. We are very committed. We are very dedicated, despite what others may believe. But we're gonna do this. We're gonna do our thing. We're gonna have fun doing it. So I want to thank you guys for watching. Answer the question in the comments below. What do you think will happen with Kenny Omega in 2018 and 2019? Thank you guys for watching. See you guys later. Take care. Goodbye.